and welcome to the latest update provided you by We Are The Famous CFC. My name is Adam and this is your match preview. Everton versus Burnley at Turf Moor Saturday. It is a couple of days early because it is Christmas Day on Thursday and Christmas Eve Wednesday, so it's Tuesday as I record this, but it is your match preview. David Moyes has held his pre-match press conference ahead of Everton's game at the weekend, and we are playing Burnley at Turf Moor. As I said, a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday, and Everton are going into the game after a narrow 1-0 defeat to the lead leaguers Arsenal. But as we go into this game, Burnley are in the relegation zone 19th with only one win all season and a point at Bournemouth on Saturday. But a proper mixed bag for me. But I do think that Everton can win this game, but we need to show the right quality, the right mentality going forward as well. But as I said, I do think that we will win, but it's going to be quite difficult, as I said. But if we can show the right attitude, the commitment, the capacity, then I personally think that we will win without a shadow of a doubt. Literally, I think we will win. It's going to be difficult, but I think that we get out a win at Turf Moor, because Burnley are bad and Everton have got quality about them. We just need to show it. We've got Njai still out. Kieran Shrewsbury-Moyes said is still out. And Jan Branthwaite is on the grass training. He is close between the next 3 weeks. So that's positives. But for me, David Moyes has to start Tyler Dibblin in this game. Without a shadow of a doubt, we've got to start Tyler Dibblin because he's got quality about him, Tyler Dibblin. And I think that he'll be someone that Everton, well, can help Everton without a shadow of a doubt. So I personally think that to start Tyler Dibblin will be key. Absolute key. But as I said, it's going to be difficult. But to be honest with you, I see all 3 points coming to the toffees, but we need to be at it from the word go. It should be an easy game for Everton, but Everton never make it easy. But I'm going to predict it 3-0 to the toffees. Don't ask me who scores, I don't know. But I just say 3-0 because Burnley are an awful side and Everton have got quality about them. But as I said, we've got to get the mentality right. But I do think that we will get it right. And we're much better away from home than we are at Hill Dickinson, unfortunately. But I think Jack Grealish scores. I think Barry, maybe. But I just know Grealish will probably score. Overly Charlie Alcaraz. But Dwight McNeil is awful and I don't want to see him ever again in the Everton jersey. Dibblin has to start before Dwight McNeil over the weekend because he's got more quality, as I said. Dibblin. But as I said, it is going to be quite hard. We know it's not an easy ride. Burnley are a good side under Scott Parker and will ground out results like they did at the weekend against Bournemouth. But I see Everton going there, putting on a fight and a show and show Burnley who we are and where we stand as a football club. And I think Moyes will get the subs right and the starting lineup right because he'll want to prove something that we want to finish towards the top half of the table to get Europe, and I think that we will. Then we've got the January transfer window in a couple of days. So a busy Christmas period. But for me, we need to go into this game and be like, we need all 3 points, because as we go into next weekend, it's going to be a hard game at Forest under Sean Dyche at Forest. Then we go to Brentford at home. Then after that, we've got Wolves again at home. And that for me is a 6 point. All in all, we could get 20 points from the next 4 games. So we need to start on Saturday at 3 o'clock. But for me, people, I think that we do it. I really do. But we've got to get our mindset right and spot on. And Turkey can't afford to make errors. Jake O'Brien cannot afford to handball again. Barry done brilliant, tried to get us a penalty, but that was cut up, that we never even got a penalty when it was a penalty all day long. And I've watched that. And yesterday absolutely broke me when Fulham got a penalty. And like, we didn't. It's crazy, yeah, corrupt. But there was loads of positives to take from the other night's game against the Leaguers. But we need to show quality, more fight, and be right up from the game, from the word go to the end. And I think that we do that. But as I said, I personally think that we win the game comfortable 3-0 at Turf Moor. Everton have had a good hunting against Burnley in recent. But we haven't. The last time we won at Turf Moor was last year. Not last year, the year before. Under Sean Dyche, I believe. So I do think that Everton can show the right mentality, the right quality as well. But it's going to be hard, as we know. But I personally think that we do it. Toffees, I really do. It is going to be difficult, as we know. It's not an easy ride. But I just think we set up correctly. The players will show the fight. And I just think that because we've got so much about us, I just think that we win at Turf Moor. But Jake O'Brien has to have a good game. Tarky, Michael Keane and Mikalenko, everybody has to have a proper decent go and get goals in them without a shadow of a doubt. But as I said, I think we do. I really do. And I think that we showed the right momentum, the right quality, and show more attack going forward without letting our heads drop. If we go 1-0 down, whatever we do, do not drop our heads. We need to get back. Fight with all our might in the boys in the royal blue jersey, as I said. But yeah, we've got to show the commitment, the mentality. All has to be strong. And I personally think it will. But we are without Shrewsbury Hall, Jared Branthwaite, Illiman and Jai, and Edurissa Gonagay. But Jimmy Garner, Tim Inabuman, they've done amazing of recent. Tim Inabuman had his best game in an Everton jersey against Arsenal and Nottingham Forest. He didn't put a foot wrong at all, without a shadow of a doubt. So that's the positivity on that side. So let's just keep the winning mentality. Let's get a massive Christmas win to end the year. And let's start January on a high with all 3 points. Let's go into the 1st of January next week with all 3 points, what we get at the weekend. Because I tell you what, that will be huge to start the new year. The new year off, a brand new month, a brand new year in the top of the league for Europe. And I tell you what, that would be looking decent, absolute decent. But we've got to get the right mentality. So I'm going to give you my starting lineup. In goal, John Pickford. Right back, O'Brien, Tarky, Keane, Mikalenko. In midfield, Tim Inabuman, Jimmy Garner, Charlie Alcaraz. Then I'm going to go with Jack Grealish, and up front, Barry. that is my predictions. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and up the toffees. Here is a quick watch of David Moyes' press conference. Up the toffees.
We were at the weekend, I think. Not too much change, so yeah, just about the way we were.
Has Jared moved on a bit more?
Yeah, they've all improving as we get on. You know, Jared's getting closer to the grass now and getting closer. So hopefully, we hope we could maybe get him by the end of the month, but it might be a bit longer than that. We'll need to see.
How do you manage this period now? Because I think you've got, 2 away games and then 3 games in 6 days or something, at home. How do you manage that?
Well, you just go about it the way you would do at this time of the year for over many years I've been in the job. I think it's always been the case. We've always had busy Christmas and New Year's, and it's what we do in this country, isn't it? And we have to find ways of managing it. I've got to say it's probably felt a bit more difficult for many clubs, and certainly the clubs who have been in Europe, and we've got more clubs in Europe than we have in the past. I think they'll probably find it tougher than ever. But from our point of view, our toughness comes from probably just not having as many players in our squad, and picking up an odd injury here or there, or the AFCON. So they've really been our concerns.
Yeah, Pep talked about putting pounds on when they go away. Is it a conversation you have to have? Not you personally,
No. Well, I hope they're not putting pounds on when they go away. That's for sure. But yeah.
I was reading the CEO's notes in the programme for the Arsenal game, and he was talking. It felt like there was not going to be a lot of movement in January. I might be misquoting him there, but that's what it felt like reading it. Mm-hmm. Have you got in your mind that you want to bring players in January? Or?
Well, I think in all the press conferences I've been in here, and we're in again today, I've always said that I don't think that we'll be doing loads of business in January. If we find some players, we'll be delighted to do it, and the CEO will be as well, and so will the owners, that we can do it. But I think it's more to do with trying to have a plan. The ownership want us to have a plan and want us to prepare and do everything in a certain fashion. So it won't be. I don't think it'll be coming up with loads of sort of quick fixes. And that's the way it's moving. That's maybe some of the difference which is taking place at Everton at the moment.
If an opportunity come up, is a striker something that you'd like to bring in?
I'd maybe like to bring other things in as well if it came up, but we'll just need to wait and see. So we're not wanting to get everybody's hopes up. There's an awful lot of speculation, and I sort of laugh at it a little bit.
I must talk about Tim Irebunam and the way he's reacted to. He had I think many people thought a bad game against Newcastle, but the way he's reacted to that in the last couple of games is, you must have been pleased with that.
We like Tim. We think Tim's got a lot of really good attributes. I thought he played well at the weekend, and we want him to continue. There's other things we want him to do. We want him to improve. We're at him all the time. We want him to keep his training levels really high, and looking to play forward and make key passes when required. So all those other things we're on his case as much as we can. But really pleased with how he's done, and I hope he keeps improving.
Just finally from me, Burnley. I think we saw against Bournemouth that clearly they're fighting for their lives, and they got a draw right at the end of the game, and that's always a good sign. I think that players are still looking to get something, and it'll be a tough task. Yeah,
I'm sure they will be. And look, over the years, going to Burnley's always been a difficult game, and it'll be no different. They've done really well. Burnley, they got themselves promoted, and I'm sure they're not going to give it up lightly. They want to keep fighting to stay in the Premier League. So I wouldn't expect anything other than a real difficult game.
Thanks, David.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks, Alan. We'll go to Fraser at Premier League Productions.
Just on
how
that, David, I'm good, thanks. You. Just on that, obviously they know how difficult it is, having been promoted fairly recently and dropped back down to the Premier League again. But do you think that difficulty of bridging that gap these days is probably as hard as it's ever been, if not harder?
Well, I think probably at the start of this season you'd have said it until you've seen how well Sunderland have done. And I lost out as the manager of Preston North End. The 3 teams get promoted: Fulham, Blackburn, and I'm trying to think, Bolton, who beat us in the final, I should say. And I think those 3 teams stayed up at that time for the next 7 or 8 years. So there is a different era now where it's much harder. I think probably the finance makes a big difference, and if you get up and you can stay up and continue. But look, Sunderland this year are absolutely disproving the thing that, you know, it means if you come up it's very hard to stay up. But I think in past history,
to build a football team, we went to City and we signed Jack Grealish on loan.